Okay, so I just wanted to make a video response to the, I just happened to be clicking around on YouTube and I clicked on this one and it's National Coming Out Day, and the user is NatQTPie8. I don't know if I said that right. I know this is a very, belated coming out story. Obviously, as National Coming Out Day, it was October 11th, but I was just, browsing, and I thought, oh, and I was, listening to her story, and I felt like it was very similar to mine in the sense that she realized that she was gay very early on in her life, and so did I. And most people that I meet and a lot of my friends that I've met didn't realize until, significantly later, or they, I guess, were attracted to guys too. I don't really know, but all I know is that when I started liking girls at a very, very young age, I knew that something was different. I specifically remember 4th grade, this was when we started our sex education. So 4th grade, we watched that we were split up into girls and boys, and we watched our puberty video and the guys watched theirs. And I just kind of felt at that point, something about, because I think other girls, that's kind of sort of when it starts, you're like, oh, that boy is so cute, and this boy that, and that boy this, and I was just like, no, it's not like that for me. So I was about 4th grade, I would have been 9 or 10, maybe 10 on the, older spectrum of it. So that's when I first realized something was wrong. Not wrong, something was different. And, the area I used to live, I grew up I spent a large chunk of my life in Tennessee. And Tennessee is in the South, and it's conservative, and it's very religious. I believe it's in the Bible Belt. So I could not come out, I felt like I couldn't come out to anyone, kind of even to myself, because of where I was. And all throughout middle school and all throughout, up until my sophomore year of high school, right before I moved, I felt this sort of disconnect from my peers because they would talk about boys and they would be like, I have a boyfriend and blah, blah, blah. And at that point in my life, I just wanted to fit in with everybody. And I didn't want to be uncool and I didn't want to be weird. And I remember this girl, and I won't say her name because I feel like that's, I'm not going to put her on blast like that, but I remember this girl that I was at school with, I met her when I was a freshman, and she was bisexual. And that was the first kind of encounter I had with anybody from the LGBT community. I don't believe I even knew any gay girls in Tennessee, in middle school and in high school, because nobody was out. I think there might have been one guy who everyone thought was gay, but he obviously wasn't out either. And so everyone, talked about her, though. She was, kind of, everyone was like, ooh, she's gay, and so, and she has a girlfriend, and blah, blah, blah. And she would even, because we had a class together, and so she would talk about her girlfriend sometimes, but not in very much detail. Her parents obviously didn't like it. I think they had caught her and the girl a couple times or something. And, yeah, so that's when I was kind of like, huh. Even more, starting to think, I didn't like her, I have a crush on her in that way, but it was, my first, visceral experience with that. And then, I was also part of the GSA, the Gay Straight Alliance, and I think the people who were in that club as well, but they weren't gay. So that was all in Tennessee, and that was all up until my middle of my sophomore year. My parents separated, and then I went with my mom and my sisters to Washington. And, yeah, Washington is a completely different from Tennessee. So it's still conservative, but less conservative than Tennessee, I guess. So the area, we were living in eastern Washington, down by the Idaho border, the Oregon border, sort of that little triangle there, or little corner of Washington down here. And even for Washington being conservative, it was less so than Tennessee. So I started high school, in the middle of high school year, I started in Washington, and I didn't really and maybe I kind of regret this looking back on it, but I didn't try and fit in with my high school because I grew up very shy and I grew up pretty sheltered. So it was harder for me to make friends, I guess, maybe. Not hard. People had to approach me first. And then there was this program in school that you could do you could do the high school, college combo thing. I chose to do full-time college classes, so I wasn't even at my high school. I mean, I met a couple people from my high school who I became pretty good friends with, and then I just immersed myself within the college, community college there. And then, this was my junior year, but I don't remember at what point during my junior year because I was going by quarters at the college, and I don't remember if it was fall quarter, winter quarter. I'm pretty sure it was fall quarter. Yeah, maybe it was fall quarter. So the fall of my junior year of high school, this is technically high school for me. So I'm 16, and I meet this girl who's a mutual friend of my friend, and yeah, mutual friend between me and my friend. And and I thought she was cool, and I thought she was cute and everything, and that was really it. And during this whole time, I didn't really pursue, like, guys, I had a couple boyfriends. I take that back. I had a couple boyfriends, but it wasn't like we never did anything, and two, they didn't ever last very long, the relationships. So I meet this girl, and we exchange numbers, we start texting. I think she's cool, she thinks I'm cool, and I remember, she was the first person that I came out to, and we ended up dating or whatever, and I remember the conversation, not verbatim, but I remember I was laying down in front of the TV texting, and we were texting each other, and she was talking to me about how her sister was having boy problems or something, and she's like, oh, I'm just gonna be a lesbian. And I was like, yeah, me too. And it was kind of like, right then, I was like, that moment, for me, it was just like solidified and concrete, and I was like, yeah, I am a lesbian. And so after that, I felt like things would be awkward with her, but they didn't. We ended up liking each other and blah, 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 you know how that story goes. So somewhere into that sort of relationship, I decided to tell my mom. And I was really worried about coming out to my mom because, you know, anybody would be worried about coming out to their parents because it's someone you care about and you trust, and they, you know, I don't think necessarily that there's nothing wrong with being gay, because I'm very proud of who I am and very comfortable with myself, but I feel like there's just, every parent doesn't want their child to be gay. I don't know, maybe she was worried about having grandkids or like me having a family or something, but I remember texting her and I was like, I have to tell you something. And this was maybe about a month or two into when the girl and I were talking, and she's like, oh, are you pregnant? And I was like, no. And I said no, and then I think she kind of guessed after that, and I talked to her when she got home, and I told her, and she cried, and she was like, are you sure? Because we have I had an uncle in the family who's gay as well. He actually just passed away a couple weeks ago. And her brother, I felt like she might be more receptive just because that was her brother, but she ended up taking it pretty well, I think. I mean, none of my family, I've never really been discriminated against by my family, which is really nice. And so after I came out to my mom, I came out to my sister and my gay uncle. And that was it for a while, because the girl that I was with wanted to keep our relationship or whatever under wraps because she wasn't actually gay and all this stuff. It was just a big mess. So I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to, there's no point. I slowly started coming out to my friends after that. And then I moved to California to go to school, and that's kind of just when I just, you know, came out of my shell, or I went from a caterpillar to a butterfly, so to speak. I became open about my sexuality, and now, 4 years later, I talk about my girlfriend all the time, or if somebody asks me, you know, if I have a boyfriend, I'm like, no, I'm gay, or I actually have a girlfriend or something, and it'll come up in the conversation. I'm not like one of those people who pushes my sexuality on other people, because I don't think that it's that big a deal. it's like, yeah, I like girls, you like boys, or you like girls too. It's like, whatever. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting because most people that I encounter, there's situations, they are like, yeah, I realized in high school, or yeah, I realized a little bit later, but this girl's, she realized super, super early like I did. I mean, elementary school. That's crazy. So yeah, I guess I'm just going to post this as a video response to this National Coming Out Day video, and my arm hurts because I'm holding the camera up, so yeah, I guess that's it.